Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and it's Tuesday night, so it's another sketch challenge night. So I'm just going to wait a minute or so that hope that some people will come and join me for my sketch challenge. Just a few comments as we get started. I just want to say thank you very much to those who are joining me or will join me tonight. If you're coming in through YouTube and it's the first time you found me, welcome. And if it's not the first time you found me on YouTube when I go live, welcome back. I love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will get notified. And hey, Catherine, glad you could join. And if you're coming in through Facebook, either through my page or my group, welcome back, because I really appreciate it when you can join me for my sketch challenges. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop. I'm going to be using the Painted Christmas product suite from the July to December mini catalog tonight. I seem to be on a bit of a kick with this right now, and I'm really enjoying it. So let me switch over to my desktop, and we'll get started with the sketch. I'm just going to make sure that I actually can see comments. Okay, I can. All right, so this is my sketch. So kind of the gray background, it's 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it in half and forms your card base. Layer number 1 is 2 pieces. These 2 yellow pieces I'm calling layer number 1. 1 3/4 by 4, 2 pieces. And then layer number 2 is the basic white piece. Could be very vanilla, whatever coordinates best with your paper. So 1.5 by 4. And then roughly a 2-inch circle. You can make it bigger or smaller depending on what you like and what you want to do in that spot, whether that's going to be your sentiment or something else. But I've got about a 2-inch circle. Okay, I will bring that sketch back closer to the end. Also, I did put a link to so that you could actually go out and download that sketch if you want to from a Google Drive. So I've got a piece of crumb cake cardstock that is cut 5.5 by 8.5. And then I have 2 pieces. So I'm using designer series paper. So this is it's beautiful. This is one of my favorite. Actually, both of these are my favorite. It's kind of hard to decide which one to cover. But I'm using this garden green one and white. And so these are the pieces that are cut 1 3/4 by 4. And then I've got a piece of basic white that is 1.5 by 4. And my circles, I've used the 4th largest in each of the scalloped. So this is the scalloped circles from the layering circles. And then this is just in crumb cake. So these are the 4th largest dies in each of them, each of the scallop and the plain circle. Okay, let me get started. All right, I'm just going to bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to score this at 4 1/4 along the 8.5-inch side. I'm trying to get in the habit of scoring my cardstock these days as opposed to just folding it. It just gives you a much better fold and crease if you actually score it. And when you are folding it, fold into the mountain. So this is the side I scored on. It makes the valley. So if you fold into the mountain, it just gives you a really nice fold. Here's my bone folder. Like that. Okay, now if you wanted to get a little fancier, I did debate about this. You could actually use another layer to mat behind this. And I would make it, if you're going to do that, I would make it just 1/8 of an inch bigger than all of these. So for these 2 pieces of designer series paper, it would be 1 7/8 by 4 1/8 if you wanted to put mat behind it. If you didn't want to use designer series paper, you could use cardstock and you could emboss it, or you could do some stamping on it, all sorts of things that you can do if you wanted to. But I'm going to use this beautiful designer series paper from the Painted Christmas suite. I'm just going to roughly align this the same distance from the top and each of the sides. And then the same with my bottom piece. I'm going to actually turn that upside down and do the same. Roughly align the same distance from the bottom and the sides. Okay. So that's my card front for the most part. So I've got this piece of basic white. This is the piece that is 1.5 by 4. It's going to go here in the middle. And then my circles are going to go like that. So before I actually adhere this down, I'm not sure whether I've got a stamp in this suite that is small enough. So I'm kind of debating about what I'm going to do. So if my circle goes there, I need to bring, this is the Christmas to Remember stamp set. So there are two bundles in the Painted Christmas suite. There is this one that goes along with the, don't have the dies, so let's see. I think this is the one. The Christmas season goes along with the seasonal dies, the seasonal layers. And this one goes along with, so I don't have my catalog. I have forgotten. So let's grab my catalog. Oh, no, I've got it wrong. So the Christmas season bundle is, oh yeah, I did have it right. So the Christmas season goes along with these dies that cut out all these shapes, as well as some great labels. And then the Christmas to Remember goes with the Christmas pine cones dies, which cuts out great background dies and individual pine cones. I'm not using that one tonight. All right, so one thing I do have to think about is which of these will fit into this space, because I'm thinking I want to put my sentiment. So I might have to actually, I think maybe I'll use this 'Tis the Season, but I'm going to have to actually cut it out with a die and pop it up so we won't stamp on it. Okay, so I can go ahead and adhere my basic white piece down here in the middle. If you're going to stamp your sentiment onto this piece, then you definitely you want to stamp it before you adhere it down. Nothing worse than stamping or adhering it down, stamping, and realizing that you moved up on your stamp. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to use dimensionals to pop up. Okay, I am not seeing all the comments. Hey, Maxine. Oh, Marilyn. Great. Sorry, I've got my phone here, but I'm not seeing all the comments. So as I look over to my computer, I actually can see the comments. So welcome. All right, so now I'm adhering my crumb cake circle to my scallop circle. So I've cut out the scallop circle out of Garden Green and then the crumb cake. You could stamp on this one if you want to put your sentiment on here. I'm actually going to cover it with some of the pine cones that I'm going to cut out. So if you want to stamp on it first, you can certainly do that. But I've got an idea to put some pine cones on it. So we're just going to put that right there. Okay, so that's my card base, more or less. And where's the rest of my paper? Okay. I'm just going to use basic white to do some stamping. I'm going to stamp. I think I got all of these out. Yeah. So I've got pine cones. So there are 2 different pine cone dies. So I'm going to stamp a couple of pine cones. Bring in my piercing mat because these are photopolymer, so I want to make sure I've got a good cushion to stamp on. So I'm going to stamp the kind of the background pine cone in crumb cake. And then I've got some soft suede. No, that's not good. Tip it upside down. And then I'm going to stamp over top in soft suede just to give it some depth to it. Like that. Okay, now I want to get my fingers all over that inky. Now I'm going to, there's some great, I don't know what these are. They're kind of, not sure what plant these are from, but they're kind of cool. I'm going to stamp 2 of those. There are dies that I can cut those out with, and I will put them underneath my and I think I will cut, sorry, I'm behind my pine cones. I'm talking to myself, thinking to myself as I go along. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the 'Tis the Season as well in garden green. Get all my stamping done. And then I can grab the dies. My dies are a mess, I have to admit. All right, I'm going to take that. That's a great label die that fits perfectly over this 'Tis the Season. It's going to take some Post-it note tape to hold it in place. And now I thought, oh, I stamped the wrong one. Okay, that's all right. Okay, so here's the pine cone. I'm going to cut those out. Some Post-it note tape on that. I thought there was but there isn't. Or if there is, I can't find it. That is not the right one. All right, I'm going to stamp in garden green some of the right. This is the one I wanted. There is another stamp here for the kind of sprigs that you can cut out. So we'll stamp some of those. Just bigger. There we go. Now I can take this die. So if you don't have some of this Post-it note tape, you could actually just use Post-it notes. I kind of like holding my my dies in place when I'm stamping over an image that I kind of want to get cut out, aligned correctly. So I'm just going to go off, and my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is just off to the side. So I'm just going to cut this out. Okay, so that's the 'Tis the Season. That. And I've got one pine cone. Oh, that's great. I just love the pine cones. They're so cute. It's funny how, this, I wasn't so sure about this sweet when I got it. I say that a lot. But the more I play with it, the more I absolutely love it. Very traditional. And the designer series paper is so stunning. Okay, there we go. A couple more cuts. Right. Here's my little pieces. I really should clean up my dies and get them back in order so I can find them. There we go. Okay, I'll save those that I stamped for another day. Okay, now we can assemble. This I'm going to use dimensionals on my pine cones. I could have probably done some stamping behind. I often like to stamp in behind, this, just to give it a little bit of dimension, but I didn't do that tonight. So we'll just go up there. That, and then blue dots. And I'm just going to kind of those down. She says, maybe I'll have to lift this one off a little bit. That. And then I think what I'm going to do, let's put that on there. So I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal to put one there. Like that. I don't know what I should put there. I guess I could put some ribbon. Or maybe I'll just leave it like that. I might have to think about that and add. I've got some of the gilded gems. I love these gilded gems. The gold is just so pretty, and it kind of feels right for this painted season to have gold. So I'm just going to take the smallest ones. Maybe I'll just do this. So there are 3 sizes. So if I do like that, fills that space a little bit. Oops. There. Fills the space a little bit. All right. So, find my sketch. There we go. So there's my card based on the sketch. Like I said, there's all sorts of things you could do with this sketch. You could just use cardstock on where the yellow is for these 2 layers where I've used designer series paper. You could emboss it. You could use designer series paper in the middle and then put your sentiment on here. You could mat these with an extra mat. So I could have put maybe garden green behind the designer series paper. Again, I would just go, if you're going to do that and add an extra layer, you probably just want those to be 1 7/8 by 4 1/8, just an 1/8 of an inch bigger. Yeah, so lots of things you can do with this sketch. Definitely versatile. When I created the sketch, I had in my mind, and I don't have an example of the fancy fold card where you cut it 4 1/4 by 7 and score it at 5 1/2, and then you've just got one top flap here, and then you cut another piece and you use something like this in the middle. It would need to be bigger to actually adhere the 2 pieces together, and it would be a tent fold card with an opening where the basic white would actually be in the inside of the card. That's what I had in my mind when I did the sketch, but I didn't do it like that when I actually made the card. So lots of ideas for you. Remember, you can get that sketch. I did put the link to a Google Doc, so go ahead and download the sketch. And I also put a link to my Creating with Stamping with Melva Facebook group where you can share your projects afterwards, because I love to see everybody's projects. And also at the end of the month, I will do a couple of prize draws from those people who shared their projects and send them in the mail. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll play along. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Thursday night, I'll be live on just my Facebook group with a mystery challenge. So if you're joining from my Facebook page or from YouTube and you want to join the group, the link to the group is in underneath the video. I'd love to have you join. So it'd be 6:30 Pacific for the mystery, and the clue will go live about 12 noon Pacific. So get your project, your supplies cut, and play along with the mystery challenge at 6:30 on Thursday night. I will be back live with a project on Saturday at 11, and then again at 12 on Sunday. So lots of opportunities to see some of the projects that I'm making. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me tonight. Happy stamping. Bye.